So today I wanted to try drawing a female monster for a change. It's been a total sausage fest so far. But when you mention classic female monster, the very first thing everyone is going to think of is the Bride of Frankenstein. Well, I'm sorry to say this, kids. I've never been a huge fan of Bride of Frankenstein, either the character or especially the movie. Yes, I know, heap your scorn upon me, but I just never got the appeal. Now, instead of spending a whole video ranting about how much I don't like something, I'd rather present my argument that there's a much better female horror icon from classic Hollywood that deserves consideration, and should be held in the same rank as Dracula and Frankenstein. And if you're already watching this video, you know who I'm talking about. To me, the Wicked Witch is every bit as important of a horror icon as Dracula or Frankenstein, even if she's never really considered for the horror category, and I understand why. The Wizard of Oz isn't a horror film, it's a fantasy, a musical,
a children's film.
But just because the witch didn't come from a gothic Universal movie doesn't mean she had any less impact on horror. So here's an example of how deep our pop culture mythology is ingrained in our brains. Go ask any one of your friends or family to pretend they're a vampire. The very first thing each and every one of them is going to do is a bad impression of Bela Lugosi. I want to suck your blood, and so on. It doesn't matter whether or not they've actually seen the 1931 film or any Bela Lugosi movie, they just know, or think they know, what a vampire sounds like thanks to the impact of the movies. Similarly, if you go ask someone to do an impression of a witch, the very first thing they'll do is imitate Margaret Hamilton. Why? Because she defined a classic monster every bit as solidly as Lugosi or Karloff. Witches have been around just as long as vampires, werewolves, and the undead, and just like how modern mythology, by that I mean the movies, redefined those classic creatures, so did Margaret Hamilton's amazing performance. In fact, you can even say she's had even more impact than Lugosi or Karloff. Like I said, everyone thinks they know what Dracula sounds like, but sadly, not everyone out there has actually ever seen the movie Dracula. I know, blasphemy. Same with Frankenstein. But Wizard of Oz? You better believe every single kid for 3 or 4 generations has seen that friggin' movie, and everyone knows the Wicked Witch. She's lurking in your brain right now, ready to come out whenever someone says something even remotely similar to one of her movie quotes.
I'll get you, my pretty.
And you know how the rest goes. You probably even finished the quote to yourself just now. To me, the 4 most important horror movie performances of the golden 1930s are Bela Lugosi as Dracula, Boris Karloff as the Frankenstein monster, Frederick March as Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and last but by no means the least, Margaret Hamilton as the Queen of Your Nightmares, the Wicked Witch in her beautiful wickedness. And finally, she and her protege Billy Hayes got to terrorize Paul Lynde on TV. Go witches!